When asking for evidence to support the story of evolution, one common answer is an appeal to the fossil record. Many evolution believers seem to take an eye-rolling, well, everybody knows approach and assume fossils provide strong evidence for evolution. So commonplace is the idea, and so commonplace are many in this belief, atheists will sometimes wear t-shirts bearing the phrase, "We have the fossils, we win," almost as if they believe fossils themselves are proof of their naturalistic story of origins. Most are unaware that what Charles Darwin himself considered the weakest link in his entire naturalistic hypothesis, the lack of fossil evidence, has never been overcome. Darwin asked a question, then made an admission and a statement, all in one quote that sums the problem up perfectly. Why then is not every geological formation and every stratum full of such intermediate links? Geology assuredly does not reveal any such finely graduated organic chain, and this, perhaps, is the most obvious and serious objection which can be urged against the theory. As an analogy, just like the legendary Bigfoot, which is often touted as seen by some, and yet which can never actually be confirmed and proven unequivocally by science, the so-called missing links are just that, still missing. And although there's a constantly proposed handful of high-profile candidates which come and go, such as Archaeopteryx, Pachycetus, or Tiktaalik, they are all highly disputed, even within the evolutionary community of scientists themselves. Of course, many evolutionists will blow off that quite damning quote from the 1800s as no more than a vestigial comment from the past when evolution was in its infancy, assuming it's all been worked out now. Yet, despite the bluff and bluster many evolutionists offer, one of the most prominent of their own picked up on the same problem and went public with it, causing quite a stir in the evolutionary community during the 1970s and 1980s, 100 years after Charles Darwin. No less than the eminent American Harvard professor, Jay Gould, paleontologist, evolutionary biologist, and historian of science, spilled the beans in spectacular fashion when he began questioning the very same fossil record evolutionists and atheists like himself were parading as proof positive for evolution, and more specifically, a reason to reject the Creator God and His written revelation to humanity, the Bible. As one of the most influential and widely read authors of popular science of his generation, a self-confessed atheistic Marxist, and one of the world's foremost evolutionists, Gould could not be described by anyone in the evolutionary community as coming from a biased creationist viewpoint when he offered his honest and expert assessment of the fossil record with statements like the following. The extreme rarity of transitional forms in the fossil record persists as the trade secret of paleontology. To preserve our favorite account of evolution by natural selection, we view our data as so bad that we never see the very process we profess to study. Gould's atheistic ideology wouldn't allow him to accept the concept of Genesis creation and the corresponding biblical flood as the far better explanation of the fossil record. So he gave up on gradualistic theories of evolution in favor of what he and a colleague, Niles Eldredge, also a well-known and respected biologist and paleontologist, referred to as punctuated equilibrium. This new story of evolution conceded to the reality of the lack of any visible graduated chain of fossils that support the idea of evolution happening slowly over millions of years. But rather than admitting this lack was problematic for the evolutionary narrative, it asserted that evolution happened quickly over millions of years, in sudden bursts that occurred periodically throughout the supposed long ages. And this was the proposed reason why the fossil record looked the way it did, as if each kind of creature appeared fully formed. Gould's idea was that evolution took place so quickly that you wouldn't expect to find it in the fossil record, which is very convenient indeed.